Good evening, everyone. It's 5 o'clock here, and tonight we are going to be making an extremely simple classic cocktail, the Boulevardier. Many people refer to it as the cousin to a Negroni because you swap out whiskey for the gin, but it really is its own cocktail with its own history and really its own life about it, because the flavor profiles, even though, yes, there's Campari, that bitterness, and that sweet vermouth, which also has a little bitter, but then also that sweetness to it, the whiskey really does come in and make it a totally different cocktail because you don't have those botanicals and the really juniper nature of the gin coming in there. So it truly is its own thing. The story goes that the Boulevardier was named after a cocktail that originated in Paris. Many great things come from there. And a Boulevardier in French is a man about town, you know, somebody who's walking down the Champs-Elysees with his cane and his monocle and coat and tails and spats and such. And the Boulevardier was actually also a magazine at the time, and the editor named Erskine Gwynn was said to have created this cocktail, and he created it in conjunction with Harry McElhone, who is the OG bartender from Harry's New York bar in Paris. Very famous bar, still stands today. And this was one of his, this was the man about town drink. This is what the Parisian of the 1920s was supposed to drink if you were cool, I suppose. So let's go ahead and jump in and get a taste of history. We are going to start with 1.5 ounces of bourbon. I am using Elijah Craig. I've said this in other videos before that I really do prefer using a bourbon or a rye. Lila agrees with me. She's like, why would you use an 80 proof for a cocktail? That's just ridiculous. You can use an 80 proof for a cocktail, but the higher the proof, the more it's going to really stand up to the other flavors in the cocktail. So that's why I like to stick with something between 90 and 100 proof when I'm doing a cocktail with whiskey. Ryes, a lot of times you'll find them bonded at 100 proof, and it just really makes sure that you don't get a lot of dilution to that nice, caramely, vanilla-y, oaky flavor. Now we're going to move on to our Italian friends. Get well, everyone. We love you, and I would like to come back soon. Campari. It is a bitter aperitivo, also used in Campari spritzes, which is also a great drink. So we're going to do 3/4 of an ounce of this. Our friends Don Ciccio and Figli here in DC actually make something sort of similar to a Campari. It's got those bitter notes that you can also make Negronis, Boulevardiers, and spritzes with. And they're delivering, and they're also selling hand sanitizer with a fancy Amalfi scent that's available for pre-order actually by folks in DC, because right now they are focused on making all of the production that they can do for hand sanitizing and distilling dedicated to supplying hand sanitizer to all of our frontline workers out there. So thank you to Don Ciccio and Figli. They do make great stuff, a lot of liqueurs, aperitivos, that sort of thing. I will make sure to tag them on this so you can follow to their website and give them some love. They ship, and then in DC right now they're doing curbside pickup as well as delivery. So definitely a good way to support local here in DC if you don't have the Campari. But Campari is also that's your OG right there. So we've put all of this in the mixing glass. We're going to add ice now because, you gotta mix it up, gotta chill it up. And the ice also will add just a little bit of water to dilute it because, you want that to really balance out the flavors, because otherwise it's just like really hot, just really hot. So take our bar spoon into our mixing glass and give it a nice stir. Remember to be very gentle with it. Again, if you don't have a mixing glass, that's fine. Use the bottom of a shaker, a Boston shaker or a cobbler shaker. Use a jar, use a glass, use, one of these Pyrex suckers. As long as it's glass or metal, really, I suggest not using plastic, because plastic really just it's more porous and it really zaps flavors into it. So, I always prefer glass or metal because it's more impermeable to really holding those flavors onto it. Otherwise, you don't want whatever you're making today to taste like the thing you made yesterday. It's not going to be pleasant. So once we're done stirring, Hawthorne strainer, and we strain this into a glass. You can use a coupe, you can use a glass like this, you can use a tumbler, you know, you can use a rocks glass, a highball glass. It's really whatever you have at home. You know, if you have really nice glassware, use it, you know, get it out. Right now, especially, is the time to use it. You know, like my mother told me, she's like, I'm getting all my china out. I'm eating off my china because why not? So why not? You have nice stuff, go ahead and use it because we're all stuck inside. Might as well, you know, treat yourself. Then we're going to take a little bit of lemon peel and we're going to express it across the top. Remember, expressing, pinch it and just let all of those little oil bits go. And this is to make sure that you get a nice little nose on it so that the second you pop your nose into the glass, you're going to get that beautiful citrus fragrance. And then I'm going to garnish it with a little lemon peel sucker that I got. You know, you can do whatever you want. I just kind of made it very thin. I pulled out all the pith off the other side, cut a little hole in the middle, did a little design on the outside, and just pop that on the edge of your glass like that. Salud.